that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Sometimes I just don't get the movie world. I just don't. I don't mind so much when a bad movie makes a lot of money because that's marketing and stuff like that. And that's fine. And that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. It's like, yay. But it's always sad when you get like a truly wonderful film that suffers and stumbles at the box office. Because to me, it sends, when great movies don't do well at the box office, it sends a very bad message to the studios. And the newest installment of this little series of really good movies that didn't do great at the box office is Transformers 1. Now, Transformers 1 is not a ridiculously expensive movie to make. I think the last I checked was $70 to $75 million is what it cost to make. The projections weren't great for opening weekend, but they were okay. At the low end, they were projecting it would make 30 million. Some of the more optimistic ones said 35. Some even said 40 million it could make opening weekend, which would have been great. And clearly that would have made it the #1 box office movie this weekend because we all knew that Beetlejuice was probably going to come in somewhere around 25 million. It was going to drop by about another half from last week. So at 30 million, Transformers 1 should easily be, and probably 35, maybe 40, it should be good. When the reviews came out for Transformers 1, incredibly solid. Ray, can you look up the RT on that?
Sure.
Right now? Actually, I'll bring it up right now.
Okay.
Transformers 1.
88%, 98% audience, 88%.
Look at this. Yeah.
Wow.
88 and 98.
120 reviews for critics. Wow. And
like,
it's still at
and
88.
remember, these are a lot of the critics who've kind of given up on the Transformers.
Oh, I never noticed that before. Like, I always saw the certified fresh when it's really good. I never saw the verified hot, like, when it's really good there. That logo.
Yeah, so, I mean, 88% critic, 98% audience. It had an A cinema score. And listen, I'm telling you, as a guy who grew up with the Transformers, this is the Transformers movie I've been waiting my whole life for. It's the Transformers movie I've been waiting my whole life for. And instead of making 40 million, instead of making 35, instead of even making the lowest range of the projections, 30, it made like almost 20% less than that. Made 25. And making it #2 at the box office this weekend because Beetlejuice came right in where we all thought it would be. It made about 26. And so Transformers 1 should have been higher than that, and it didn't. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, who said this. In a surprise twist, the bots got squeezed out by Beetlejuice at the weekend box office. Paramount had Hasbro Entertainment's Transformers 1 was expected to open to at least 30 to 35 million in North America, more than enough to top the chart. Instead, it came in at an estimated 25 million from almost 4,000 theaters versus an estimated 26 million from 4,100 theater locations for Beetlejuice. Transformers 1 had held a slight edge as of Saturday morning, but the necessary traffic needed to eke out a victory didn't materialize. Now, this is where it gets interesting and sad. The unwelcome news comes despite glowing reviews, awards buzz, an A cinema score, and exceptional post-track exit scores. That's, for people talking about the movie as they come out of the theaters. But Paramount and Hasbro always knew that they were taking a risk by returning to the franchise's roots and making a CGI animated film with family-friendly PG rating. By the way, this thing's got a PG rating. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. You literally have people like, you have Transformers, you have citizens of Cybertron getting stabbed through the face, cut in half, literally a guy being lifted in the air and ripped in half. And this isn't PG-13? That's another issue for another time. I don't know how this thing got a PG. That aside, the post-mortem now begins. Now, before we get to the post-mortem, let's say, maybe the same thing that happens to The Greatest Showman, maybe the same thing that happened to Elemental, movies that started strong and everybody went, uh-oh, but then they actually got legs and word of mouth got out and they started to build momentum and they ended up having great, huge box offices. Maybe that'll happen with Transformers.
These
1.
are great reviews, and the audience is going to come back saying how much they love this movie. So
unfortunately, I believe this is going to go the other way where it hits streaming and then we hear the buzz again.
Again, A cinema score, 98% critic rating, positive fast track coming out of theater scores. But again, let's put that aside for a second. We asked the question then, what went wrong? Now, the director of this film, who directed Toy Story 4, by the way, another movie I think is great. All that guy can do, and all the people making the movie can do, is make the best movie they can. And they did. They made a wonderful, entertaining, fun, funny, true to the mythology. It's true to the spirit of Transformers kind of movie. While also putting a new spin on it, they made a wonderful film. So what went wrong? Some people will say, well, it was animated. I reject that theory because Minions or Despicable Me 4 is approaching $1 billion, and the number one box office movie of the year, Inside Out 2, is also an animated movie. I don't think you can just say, well, it's animated, that's why it didn't make any money. The two of the highest grossing and the highest grossing box office movie of the year are animated films.
Right.
So you can't just say, well, it's because it's animated. I think there are two factors here, maybe three. I hate to say it, but maybe three. I think there might be three factors at play here. Number one is an obstacle we all knew was going to be a problem. The reputation of the Transformers is shit. Michael Bay ran it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They started to look like they could recover with Travis Knight's Bumblebee, but then instead of doing the smart thing and doing a Bumblebee sequel with Travis Knight directing, they went back to the Michael Bay formula. They didn't go back to Michael Bay, but they went back to the Michael Bay formula and did Transformers Beast Wars, and nobody cared. And it wasn't bad. I didn't think Transformers Beast Wars was bad. I actually had a mildly good time at it. I did, but it did nothing to elevate the franchise again. So already Transformers is kind of in a little bit of a bad place. So number one thing that I think hurt it, and these are in no particular order of importance, but I think one of the things that hurt it was the fact that the Transformers rep is bad right now. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Acorns. Guys, everybody knows we should be investing our money. That's why it's an important priority to me. But there are several obstacles to getting started. First of all, a lot of people think you need a lot of money to start investing, or that it's complicated, or you need to do a lot of research. Well, our sponsor, Acorns, makes it simple. You see, Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing in your future. You don't need a lot of money or expertise to invest with Acorns. In fact, you can get started with just your spare change. Acorns recommends an expert-built portfolio that fits you and your money goals, then automatically invests your money for you. My own experience has been great. See, I actually started using Acorn years ago as kind of a first foot in the door to get started in investing. I set up the automatic deposits, and before you knew it, every couple of weeks I'd check in on it and watching my money grow. It was fantastic. So guys, head to acorns.com/Campea or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Client testimonial. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Campea. Number two, while the trailer that came out of Comic-Con got a lot of people buzzing, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And the first trailer they put out for this movie did not land well with the fans. Mm-hmm. That first trailer came out and a lot of people were, this looks dumb. And people like me who saw the presentation at CinemaCon were trying to tell people, guys, okay, maybe this trailer isn't the greatest thing ever, but believe me, this movie looks really good. But nobody wanted to listen because they didn't nail it with that first trailer. And even though the second trailer was significantly better and a lot of people liked it, the first impression was already made. And I think a lot of people, fairly or unfairly, just or unjust, right or wrong, I think there were a lot of people who just wrote off the Transformers after they saw that first trailer and never gave it another thought. So number one, the Transformers reputation is already bad. So that was an uphill battle they had to fight. Number two, I think a lot of people checked out after the first trailer. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but I think that's plays into it. It's not the only thing, it's just one of the things that played into it. And I hate saying it, but I think there's a third thing that might be playing against it. Transformers ain't as cool anymore. I hate saying that because it is to me. It always will be to me. But the guys who grew up playing with Transformers, you know, we were in our 30s, some in our 40s, when Michael Bay was putting his movies out. But now the people who grew up playing with Transformers are in their 40s and 50s. And Transformers hasn't done a lot to develop and grow a new generation of fans. Transformers 1 is doing it, but is it too little too late? So I can't help but wonder, because they made a great movie, the audiences loved it, the critics loved it. I think the three things we're looking at is the reputation was too hard to overcome, the first trailer made a lot of people check out already, and the fact of the matter is the Transformers aren't as cool as they are to me, to a younger generation as much, right?
I mean, my thing would be, just to add on to yours, they need a little bit more money in marketing, just a little bit. Even if the first trailer was bad. The Minions, when we're watching a movie, they had a small spot before a movie started where the trailer's about to start, and you had the two Minions. If you had a little Bumblebee thing like that, just Bumblebee, where he's playing to the crowd, he's like, just every now and then include Bumblebee, because Bumblebee was the charm of the movie, I believe. Then you'll have like maybe kids, maybe in front of like the Inside Out 2. Maybe have little spots in there. Then the kids will be like, "What's that? What's that character?"
Yeah.
But they played the trailers before.
You know, because we can't always.
Well, he means
defend-
like integrating them into like,
you know how
yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine had just a little bit more money in marketing. They didn't even have a popcorn bucket. When I go into the toy store or a Target,
Yeah, but you
I
have
look
to
in the
buy a
sections-
ticket to the movie
I know,
before seeing
I
the
know,
popcorn
no.
bucket.
But I mean, make it bigger than what you know. Like I mean, at least look like you care about it. When I go into a Target, whatever, I look at Transformers section. You can't see any Transformer 1 toys. I don't think it makes me feel like maybe they weren't had as much faith in this movie.
But you can't make Transformers 1 toys until you see that the movie is going to hit and kids will want the toys. Nobody went to go see the movie.
I mean, the toys have been out before the movie.
But I mean, but you put nobody would have bought them because no one's going to the movie.
Right. But I'm
mean-
just saying, it's just from what I see. Like, let's look at Wish. They can't get rid of those toys. I mean, that's probably the good
Because
thing.
nobody went to go see Wish.
That's the probably
and
what's
nobody
good
went to go see Transformers, so they wouldn't have been able to sell those toys either.
But I'm just saying, I think they needed to put a little bit more money in the marketing. If the first trailer failed, they needed to push a better one, which they did.
I think I did like that second trailer, and I think if they had done a third or whatever and just shown a more
They did
adult,
drop a third. They
adult,
did drop
oh
a
yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
make
did,
it
yeah.
more adult, serious tone. I think you would have drawn a larger audience.
Well,
to it.
I don't think that's the audience you were trying to get.
But that's what the
become a
movie
hit.
is. It
'Cause
is a more
me-
serious tone.
Did you see it, Jonathan?
Not
Have you
yet.
seen it? Oh, okay. Me, John, we went to go see it. All the Transformers fans who's always backed up Transformers will always go see it.
Yeah,
right?
but there's not as much of us anymore.
Yeah, but then that's why I'm saying, in order to pull the younger generation to watch these movies, you got to get something for them to get catch their attention.
I don't know, man. They put out a bunch of trailers. I just don't know. I think it has more to do with, I think there's a lot of people that even if they did more marketing, I don't know that it would have helped. I mean, maybe it would have, but
And a great cast, like the voice acting cast, that shows you.
great. But
That
honestly,
just shows you that it's not necessary because that didn't pull.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't pull anybody. And again, the unfortunate thing is they made an awesome movie.
Yeah.
This is an awesome movie. This is literally, like right now, I don't know that it will be by the end of the year, but Transformers 1 is in my top 5 favorite movies of the year so far. It
So is
may or
mine.
may not still be in, I don't think it's still going to be in there by the time we get to the end of the year, but again, this is, I think, the best Transformers movie ever made. I think it's the Transformers movie I've been waiting my whole life for, and it was better than I expected it would be. Again, A cinema score,
Yeah.
98% audience score, positive tracking on Fast Track. I mean, what else did they need to do?
I know, and
but
it's
people didn't want to go.
And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that it's Paramount too, in the trouble that they're in about, like, you know, I hope this is not the last one from them. They seem to always care about their properties that they have, and put so much love into them that I hate.
Well, I
that
agree.
If this would be the
And they
last
did
Transformers.
so good with Mutant Mayhem, and
Yeah.
then and now this. It's-
Well, okay, now I was about to circle around to Mutant Mayhem. Now, Mutant Mayhem was another animated movie they did that, quite frankly, exceeded my expectations, and I ended up enjoying very much. And it didn't do great at the box
Yeah,
office.
that's a
But what Paramount did was, we see that people who did see it really enjoyed it. And we believe that is a foundation we can build on. So Paramount committed to making a second one, and we're going to get a Mutant Mayhem 2, even though the first one didn't do well. I hope that Paramount has the same vision for this. I hope Paramount, instead of sitting back and looking at the opening weekend box office, which is disappointing, instead they look at the audience score. They look at the cinema score. They look at the tracking information. I hope they sit back and look at and say, okay, maybe not a lot of people came and saw this movie, but the people who did come to see this movie loved it. And even if Transformers 1 doesn't end up making us money, we believe, hopefully, that this is a foundation we can build on. And if we do another one, the next one will make money.
Yeah.
That's my only hope right now. For this
I do agree, because then if you can, first off, I have believed that this will have legs. I do. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but I think it will. Beyond that, I think it's going to do really well in streaming and pick up a lot of audiences in streaming and whatever secondary markets, so that if they are going to announce a second one, you're going to pull in a bigger audience for the second one.
I wanted to bring up the movie that did take the box office, Beetlejuice.
Why?
Because you know what? Last night we did Halloween Haunts. We're getting into October. Beetlejuice seems to be like a Halloweeny movie type of movie. That might keep it up there for a little bit. You know what I mean? I think just because people get into Halloween, like
It could get. I think we talked about that. Like it could get a bump, but you know.
And unfortunately
now we're going into the fourth
there's
weekend and fifth weekend.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up for that point. Maybe it's staying strong because people are getting to the Hollywood spirit. People are just.
It's going to run. I think it's going to be, by the time we're getting closer to the holiday season, it's going to be in its
It'll
fourth,
run its
fifth,
course.
sixth week.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
because too, like you said, John, earlier, it actually hit where we figured it would have hit. So it's not like it took a
Beetlejuice, you
bit.
mean?
Yeah, it's not like it took a bump.
Beetlejuice made
it's
what we
where,
said it was going to make. It was going to drop by about half.
So it's tracking.
It was going to make around 25.
Yeah.
And so Transformers 1 will be the number one movie at the box office because it's minimum going to make 30 to 35, maybe even 40. And then it didn't do that. Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? I'm not going to lie to you. A little part of my soul dies when a really good movie underperforms at the box office. Transformers 1 is a really good movie. The audience reactions to it absolutely prove that. The critics love it, all that kind of stuff. And yet couldn't get people to go out to go see it on its opening weekend. What do you think was the problem there? Why do you think it underperformed the way that it did? Do you agree with my three observations? Maybe you disagree with one or two of them. Maybe you disagree with all of them. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.